it's weird though, because it can't just be me, because I have this like blood in my veins that's like it demands that respect be reciprocated.
Yeah.
And there's people out there who just they possess this. You want to talk about some old head stuff? Now we're really getting into it.
Yeah.
There's people that have just zero sense of respect, and it's like I would actually probably pay a monthly fee. I would pay for Ubisoft Premium, if that's even a thing, if those guys, if I reported them, and it wasn't that they got banned, it's that, like, a sumo wrestler broke into their house. You know what I mean? Like, I want them to pay, dude. I want them to, like, know that they were disrespectful and that they deserve what's happening to them. So, I don't know. I guess we probably all have a problem with it.
Hello and welcome to Grass Touchers, the show where the three of us pals talk about video games and how frustrating they are and how much we don't have time for them and love them anyway. I am Jake.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Greg.
I want to hear how we're doing. What are we playing? What's life like? I think we've got a full episode for the folks today. Jared, take us off.
I'm experiencing something akin to like a highway fever. How the people in the long haul driving, they say after a while the lines start to like blur and like things become dangerous because you kind of like lose focus, you know?
That complacent like zoned thing.
Right. Just the monotony of the road and all that. I love Dota, and I'm still enjoying it. It's still a game that I'm like playing as often as I can. But I realized this weekend I played like a couple matches too many, and like the games that I was in, I was like not engaged. Like you have to be fully engaged in this game because there's plays happening everywhere, and there's potential plays happening everywhere that you can miss out on. And I just was like not even there. I was like half my mind was just elsewhere. And I've noticed that's kind of been creeping a little bit more and more when I like play like one match too many. Like I'll play a game and it's good and whatever. But so I'm kind of noticing that. And so I'm thinking I might start to shift away from Dota a little bit back into fighting games, which is a on again, off again love of mine. We spoke last week about all of the things going on in the fighting game community. And
the Street Fighter thing and the competition's coming up.
Right. And there's lots of DLC, and it's like there's a ton of reasons for me to kind of get back into the groove of that. And, so I'm excited to do that. Aside from that, I think Joe Biden and Donald Trump are having a debate tonight.
Yeah, let's swerve the audience real quick. We're actually just going to react to that debate this whole time.
Yeah, dude. This is a live reaction video.
Get your bingo cards out, people. Right. I have one of my cousins, he sent me a debate bingo card that was like every time they say crooked Biden family, you know.
Right.
It's like,
Dag, every time Trump points his fingers at the camera, Dag has to drink.
Oh no!
Get so wasted, dude. But yeah, aside from that, nothing. Just cooking in the Tucson heat. Once more, you're gonna hear that a lot, folks. But get over it.
Dude, as is your right. Like it's miserable out there. I checked the weather where like me and you and Greg are at, and like family members of mine, because it's a real heat wave out there in a couple of places. It's been. Mercifully relatively dry over here, whereas normally it's mega humid. We haven't had much rain in like 2 weeks, but it's still been like 95, 96, and I'm like, dang. But then I remember Tucson, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably just relax.
Yeah, it is gay out here, dude. It sucks, man. It's brutal. And we got a little rain this weekend, so the humidity has set in, and just it's just like it's like you're being smothered by your special needs cousin who's like 6'7" and weighs like 230 pounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just like on you all the time, just like trying to get you to go play Operation with him. And you're just like, stop.
He's got that weird strength, you know?
Bro, yeah. And
it used to be called something different.
Well, yeah. I don't want to be ableist on this podcast, but
that's right.
The boy, all he can do well is play Operation. Sometimes not even that. You do the math. Okay?
Oh yeah, God
Deg?
bless you, dude. I hope you're surviving out there. Yeah, Deg, go ahead.
I've been playing, obviously, the Elden Ring expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree. By my estimation, I'm probably a quarter. I put a third of the way through on the notes, but probably a quarter of the way through the DLC. And I've got like 15 hours, that's a lot for. I mean, if I end up playing 60 hours, that's a ton for an expansion, you know.
Yeah, I'd say.
And so it still rocks every bit as much as it did from the beginning. Other than that, I don't think I've really played anything else.
That checks out. I mean, you were very stoked on that DLC to finally drop. So if I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't play anything else either.
Yeah. It's obviously incredibly hot here too in Texas. And with my son still being a newborn, most of my time is dedicated to that. Although yesterday was my last day on contract, so I've got like 2 weeks off of work, which is great.
Oh yeah.
And got some people visiting, family visiting this weekend, and some friends who live in Houston visiting the next weekend. So should be pretty fun. Gonna enjoy the break while it lasts. And so, because being a high school band director, things are getting ready to get hot and busy. So
that's right. There's a reason there's a death metal band called Texas in July. I don't know if you're familiar, but it's pretty brutal stuff. It's like, oh, that's a pretty good name for a band, Texas in July.
That is a great name for a band.
That has thrashed you pretty good.
It's like this, again, true grass toucher moment where one of my biggest frustrations right now is when my mom visited 2 weeks ago, and she helped me replant my flower beds because they had become infested by Bermuda grass from my front yard, and so we ripped everything out and bought a bunch of too much money's worth of new flowers and replanted everything. And I've been really trying to keep up with it, but if I go because it's so hot right now, if I go 1 day without watering it extensively, it's every flower's just falls over dead.
Losing the will to live every hour if you're not feeding this thing.
Yeah, and so been doing that and playing the DLC, and I hear that someone else on this podcast might be joining the club soon. Jake, what have you been up to?
Well, I haven't played it yet, but Steam just delivered a notification to me that download has been completed for a little game called Elden Ring. I have taken advantage of the Steam Summer Sale, which we'll talk about more later. But yeah, Elden Ring is officially in my library, purchased for 30% off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not exactly a Steam partner of any kind, but just FYI, that is one of the games that's on sale. So if you're some kind of weirdo like me that never played Elden Ring yet, then you can get it for $42 instead of $60. And I suppose I encourage you to do that. I know Greg does encourage everybody to do that. I haven't even played it yet, so what do I know? But yeah, I got Elden Ring. What I've been playing is my usual kind of just vacillating between different competitive games that try to, I need this validation. It's a character flaw of mine. I don't like this about myself, but I really like winning at things. I'm competitive. I like being right. I like beating someone at a thing, or knowing more than someone at a thing, or just being competitive. And it's come up previous times in my life, on the soccer field in high school. I would just get raging mad and play the toughest defense you've ever seen. And I've in video games, as you both very well know, have rage quit and literally uninstalled a game in 5 seconds. And the other night we played some PUBG, and it was me and Tyler and Greg. And it was fine at first, you know, and we got like second place, I think. No chicken. No, that's not true. We did get a chicken dinner in like a casual, I think.
Yes, thanks to yours truly.
At the beginning there. That's right. You got the last kill. So then as we kept going, and maybe this is what Jerry was talking about, playing one too many or two too many, or, you know, it just like when you get killed by somebody who has a stupid amount of hours in the game, and I say that just by virtue of their rank, right? Like they've literally prestiged 5 times and they're already level 400 on that one. It's like, I just don't desire to play with those people. I really wish there was a way to delineate who you get to play against. I suppose the answer to that is ranked. But in PUBG, ranked is like first person only, and it's just a different kind of game. And to me, PUBG is third person. That's how the game came out. Anyway, the long story short, I decided to take a tactical timeout from PUBG. That night, we played a game, and I was like, "All right, fellas, I'm done. I'm gonna be done now. Have a good night, and I'll see you later." It wasn't quite a rage quit, but it was close. You know, I was like, I'm done with that. So then, like an idiot in that state of mind, I laid in my bed and played Rocket League. And, you know, I've been in gold. I'm still in gold, but I'm like gold 2, division 2 or something. And I've been doing pretty good. But that night, I was in this sour mood. And, of course, I was handed the worst, most useless teammates and tough opponents. And that game is not easy. It's a hard game, you know, and I'm trying to just play, and I didn't win a single match, and I was like almost back in silver, and I was like, God, I had this vision of just like cracking my Steam Deck over my knee and just being done, and like coming in here and throwing my computer out the window. Like I was so mad, and I thought, I got to get this under control. This is stupid. This is ones and zeros we're talking about. I have got to do something different. So I reflected on the other night. Me and Greg played Civilization 6 with my brother, or tried to play with my brother. He had to bow out because his connection was bad or something. I couldn't tell what was going on. But Greg, what did you think of Civilization 6? I know we didn't play for that long, but did it pique your interest? Are you going to return to it at some point? What did you think?
I will return to it. I'd like to figure out the game. I felt like I was like thrown in the deep end a little bit, which is fine.
100%. 100%.
So I don't know that I had as much fun as I would have if I knew the game better. I feel like that's one of those games that if I get to know it better and get better at the game, we could play that game a lot.
Yeah. The reason I ask is this. I think that is a great example of a game that is just as deep and like thought-provoking and challenging as any other game. But it is not moment-to-moment, twitchy, frenetic competition. And you can take AI in that game or real players and still have a very challenging experience. But you can also like modify sort of the constraints, right? Like you remember you got attacked by barbarians horribly in that.
Yes.
And to your credit, despite knowing jack crap about the game, you fended them off as time wound up and we were kind of almost done for the night. You were like, I think I've cleared out all these barbarians. I'm learning the game. You could turn barbarians off if you so choose in that game. You can play that game with something else in mind. Like, I want to do this. I want to do naval warfare, or I want to have a banging economy and just, boss people around. You can set up your sort of turn. There's lots of different ways to win that game. And I thought, gosh, I really like Civ, and some of the DLC's on sale right now, and one of the DLC packs I don't have. And I was like, man, maybe I should like hit that back up. And I'm starting to realize I need to find a game that I can enjoy whether or not my friends feel like playing it. And if everybody wants to play something, we'll probably play PUBG or whatever. And I'll probably get sick of it a little bit. But like, if I can keep that in its place, and then I can have my sort of like actual video games are a hobby of mine games. And I think that's what I'm going to try to kind of move toward.
Why couldn't we have gotten,
maybe that'll be it.
Why couldn't we have gotten Tyler addicted to a game that is better?
I know, dude.
This is our fault, dude.
It is. Because I love to include Tyler. I love to include my brother, for that matter. Between the 5 of us, on a given night, there's a chance you could play with a buddy or two. And that's great. Right. I want that. I want to have a game on standby. But I'm starting to, like, until the Unreal Engine 5 change happens or something changes about that game, I'm, like, pretty close to done with it sometimes. And I don't want to be because I really like that game.
But all of the games that we choose to play together usually suck donkey balls, dude. Have you noticed that?
With all of them?
Yeah.
Yes. Siege, Apex Legends, PUBG, You and I had a Call of Duty kind of moment when one of the new ones
gosh.
had come out. We tried to play Warzone, and it was like, God, this is awful. I don't think you can really, if you're gonna play an online, multiplayer competitive shooter, you're gonna lose sort of on some part of the spectrum there, whether it's the cheating problem or whether it's the player base or whether it's the just the quality of the game, like glitching all the time, or in PUBG's case having a large RNG mechanic and really bad vehicle physics. Like there's going to be something. But yes, I fully accept blame for the PUBG addiction.
Public
we share at the
apology
moment.
to Tyler for getting him hopelessly addicted to PUBG.
That's right.
We'll do better. We need to do better in the future.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for some other freaking game, dude. But in the meantime, that's sort of where I'm at, is thinking about like. And here's the other thing about Civilization 6. Just a random addition. I watched a movie today that reminded me how much of a like James Bond, Tom Clancy, diplomacy, dark shadow backroom deals. Like I love movies in real history. That is sort of like global in scale, and I watched a movie called What's that?
Not National Treasure?
No, I do like that movie though. I mean, how could you not like that movie? Operation Mincemeat is on Netflix, and I was just I was working from home today, cranking out some stuff, and sometimes I'll have the TV on in the background, just like I do it at work when I'm in the office. And I thought, let me get on Netflix and see if there's something that I added to my list and just like never got around to. And it was in the afternoon, kind of like after lunch kind of time. And I was like, I shouldn't get any phone calls. Like, let me just kind of zone into this project I'm working, and I'll put this movie on. And I really liked it. Operation Mincemeat covers a World War II British intelligence maneuver that Winston Churchill himself like approved and knew about, where there's various secretive agencies at that time in World War II, and they developed a plan to deceive the Nazis by taking a dead body, dressing it up like an officer in the military, and throwing it into the ocean off the coast of Spain, hoping that the Spanish police, who are largely controlled by the Nazis, would find the body and, search it and look for documents, read those documents, and think that they had intercepted secret or top secret sort of like communique about war plans. And their goal was to convince the Nazis that they were going to invade Greece, when in fact they were actually shooting for somewhere else, which I think was Spain. And it's a real story. It's a true story that actually happened, and you can read books about it, because guess who worked at that secret British intelligence agency that performed or was part of the team that pulled this maneuver off? Ian Fleming, who is famously the author of... Anyone?
James Bond.
James Bond, yeah. The guy who wrote the character James Bond, actively served in British intelligence World War II. So, super, super cool story. Great actors. That one guy that's in Love Actually and gets cheated on.
James Bond.
James Bond in Love Actually. Just boning everybody.
007 Love Actually.
Oh,
Who's in that? Who is in that movie? Is that Caitlin Olsen or something?
Love Actually? Lots of people, dude.
Let's look that one up.
What's her face? My wife hates her. Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley.
Love Actually is all around us. It's not Hugh Grant. It's Colin Firth. Colin Firth is in
Liam
Operation
Neeson.
Mincemeat. Liam Neeson's.
Dang, dude.
That's right, dude.
There's a guy that I would let be Bond. I would let him be Bond. It'd be so funny.
So,
dude.
If anybody out there is sort of a World War II nerd or a military history nerd or just kind of an appreciator of wild true stories that really happened, Operation Mincemeat, very cool movie on Netflix. It's got a little love story in there, fellas. Nice. If you're trying to convince the lady to watch it, be like, hey, don't worry, there's a love story.
If you're trying to convince
I know how you ladies love the love story. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. I'm reigniting my joy for games that are not competitive in an effort to not punch a hole through my monitor. So
cool.
That's what
Turn over a new leaf, man.
That's right. Greg, I want you to spill the beans. Tell me a little more. I'm seeing in our notes here that Shadow of the Erdtree, the acronym you used is SOTET, and I'm like, what is that? The Egyptian god of like torture or something? Like, what is it? It was pretty funny. Sotet? It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow, dude. You're a Sotet guy now? Is that what you're about, Dig?
Yeah, I've been playing Sotet. No big deal.
So the bosses are notoriously difficult in the DLC, and so I was explaining this a little bit to Jake before we started recording. There's a like a power up that you can get. There's like they're called Erdtree fragments, and they're pretty rare, and you pick them up, and after you get one or two, you can consume them, and they buff your character permanently while you're in the DLC area only. So if you fast travel back to the base game, you don't have the attack power or defense buff anymore. It's a really smart way of like incentivizing you to like hunt down these buffs without breaking the base game.
Sure.
And so a lot of these like super hardcore, I'm using like heavy air quotes when I say super hardcore because it's a video game, players, they think, not a lot of them, there's a section of the player base of Elden Ring and Souls games in general that believes that if they can't beat the game the way they want to play it, which for the vast majority of them is just with a big heavy sword and a shield, without using any tools at their disposal to make the game a little bit easier, then it sucks. And it's not their vision of what a Soulsborne game should be, right?
Yeah.
And so, but here's the thing: the bosses in the expansion and the DLC are like straight up impossible if you don't collect the fragments and buff yourself.
Yeah.
With the attack power
forces
buffs.
you. It forces you to do all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't have otherwise done because you're some sort of hardcore nerd, which is so stupid to me. It's like it's not even an online competitive game, really. You're just swapping stories with people online about what builds to use, and what are you calling someone weak for playing the game the way that they want to play it? Like, shut up.
I would
what
just
a
use
loser.
a game genie, dude. Not for me. It's easy. Hacks.
That's right, dude.
Yeah, and so it's some highlights so far. The second major story boss battle of the game is against a spell sword kind of person. She's got like she uses a sword in each hand, and I told Jake that you can actually, when you kill her, you get her weapon, and it's like two swords, and one of them creates like a fire tornado, and the other shoots like blade beams, kind of like Legend of Zelda. But facing her is incredibly frustrating because the fire tornado, like, one shot kills you. So you, like, as soon as you see her starting to wind up, you're just like, all right, and I just backwards roll across the entire arena to get away. And then when she gets to, like, below 50% health, she uses what's called, like, a twin moon. So she floats up into the air and turns into a moon and crashes down to the floor, and it blows up like the entire arena, and you have to like jump when she hits the arena or it insta kills you. So you have to like, the first couple of times I'm playing, I'm fighting her, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna dodge roll, insta kill. I'm like, what the and so I fight her again, and I get her to half health, and she like floats up in the air, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I want to time it perfect this time, and I like roll, boom, insta kill. So finally, I use the considerable resources at my disposal, YouTube, and I and I literally type in how to beat Relana Phase 2 Elden Ring DLC, and the first video pops up, and it's like, "Jump, you idiot!" and I think I beat her the very next time. But yeah, she was super hard, but there aren't a lot of. In the base game, there aren't a lot of like spell sword bosses, like bosses that are equally proficient with weapons and with magic. So that's pretty cool. The armor and weapons you can get in the game are really cool. The theme's great. It's great. It's hard. It's definitely like earned its reputation online for being harder than the base game.
Sure.
And I'm absolutely loving it, and
it's awesome, dude.
Really recommend it. And I think it's a shame that there's a large group of people that are like purposefully review bombing it on Steam.
Isn't that so silly? It's just so like here's an example, right? And maybe some of our listeners can relate to this. In a given back to the competitive scene in like multiplayer games, I remember in Siege, you'd find somebody playing a certain character or using a certain gun, and you would sort of lampoon them with your buddies, because like it's a noob weapon, right? It goes back to Halo 2, I think, right, with the noob combo.
Noob combo.
Charge up the plasma pistol and then shoot them with the battle rifle, I think was the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember in Siege, there were characters I hated because of the way they looked, to be honest with you. Mozzie Pizza Skin, paging Dr. Mozzie Pizza Skin. But then there was characters I hated because their thing seemed like overpowered and dumb. But there's a third kind of thing I hated, which was, hey man, that's lame, because the only way to make that work is to spend countless, ridiculous, no grass touching, no getting hours playing this game. I thought that about the SMG-11 in Rainbow Six. Remember, people would wield that as their secondary, and there was a time where you could put a scope on that wasn't just a red dot. You could put like a 4X on the SMG-11 at one time. This was early game, or I think the 1.5 times. And there's people that would put a heavy barrel on there so it did maximum damage, or not maximum, but more damage at long ranges. And they would like, like with the SMG-11 be sniping people with a machine pistol that shoots a bazillion rounds a second.
Right.
And the only way to be able to do that is to play the game for an embarrassingly long time. And I dislike those people because, like, number one, I felt bad for them. Like, dog, you need a life. You shouldn't be able to do that. Holy
right.
And then, yeah, because it was inconveniencing me and I was trying to relax with my bros, right? But in Elden Ring, it's like, this isn't competitive. There's not really a leaderboard unless you're what, speedrunning? Like, why do you care? Why do you care? Why care how somebody is choosing to play the game? And you certainly can't blame the devs because it's their thing. Like, they get to decide how you know what options are available to you. Like, get over it. It's stupid.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially because it's not... I feel like a lot of these guys are like, well, you know... I feel like they have this like vision of like them being a streamer and them only getting like street cred if they're streaming, playing the game a certain way. And it's like, no one cares that you beat that boss with like a big colossal weapon. Like
you're not the guy. You're not it. You're not the main character.
Like what are you trying to do? You're trying to like brag to your buddies in Discord that you beat the boss like the way you want to play. Like they don't care either, and they're your friends. Like they really don't. And I was telling Jake and Tyler this other night. There's my favorite Elden Ring content creator is a guy named Fightin' Cowboy, and he got an awesome YouTube channel. And he does like guides for all the FromSoft games, and then he does other things too. And he's great. And he does like walkthroughs for all the games, but he streams his walkthrough prep. Like he streams him like going through the game and like figuring out the best path and stuff. And while he's streaming that, he just kind of like has offhand conversations, you know. And I was listening to him the other night, and he goes, you know, these people that get frustrated because they can't beat this game like one specific way. He's like, I think that they think people care, or that like, you know, if they were to beat the game their way and they were to film it and like send it to the creator of the game, that they would care, but they don't give a either. And and so like Hidetaki Miyazaki is the creator, is the creator of all the Souls games, and he was like, I guarantee you, if Miyazaki like if you sent a video of you beating the game, like I finally did this crazy thing and I finally beat the game my way with just a sword and a shield, like I guarantee he'd be like, oh, this person like like he doesn't care. Like they don't care. Like they don't the creators don't design games for people to play it the way they want. They design it for you to play it the way they intend you to play it, you know. Right. I don't know. Maybe you guys disagree, but I think that like they design video games for you to play it in a specific way. And I don't know, just banging your head against the wall because you have a vision of your ideal way to play. I just think it's kind of silly.
Yeah, I think people like that have been spoiled by other games where the devs respond, especially multiplayer games. Like they respond to a balancing problem and then they change things for the players to increase comfort. But I think, they think too much of themselves.
Well, it's man. Some people in the gaming community are incredibly toxic, and I know the word toxic gets thrown around a lot, but and inappropriately so. But like this, my favorite streamer, Fighting Cowboy, he put a post out. I'm a member on his YouTube channel. It's like $3 a month or something. But you get to be a member, you get like all of his videos. You get them like 2 days early, and so he posted a thing where he's been getting messages from people that are like, "Why are the videos not up? I need my walkthrough videos." And these people are pissed off, and he's like, "Dude, I put out like 4 walkthrough videos every day that are each half an hour." Like
that's an insane productivity, by the way. That's like prolific for any, like there's YouTubers that I respect a good deal that I've followed them for a while and they've grown over time and they've whatever. That's an insane upload schedule. Like even though he knows those games really well, and you could argue maybe it doesn't take him, once you have a sort of a workflow for these things, maybe he can move pretty quickly. But that's a lot. And it sounds like he's doing it quasi full time. God bless him if he has a family, you know what I mean? Or,
he has
a
a
job.
kid.
Or yeah, right. So like take a chill pill, dog. Like, get out of here with that attitude. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But I think it all stems from the same kind of person who plays a video game. And I think this ties into what Jake was talking about with playing with people that are just unbearable to play the game with, And, there's just a certain kind of attitude when it comes to video games that I just don't jive with, And they're supposed to be fun.
They need to log off. They need to touch grass. They need to listen to this podcast and stop being a terminally online, thoughtless, careless keyboard warrior who thinks they can say anything to anyone at any time just because it crossed their reptilian brain, Like, be a human, will you?
Allow me to officially uninvite you guys from playing Dota then, because I'm like, I played a lot of online games. And we all grew up in the era of like early Xbox Live where it was like your mom is an N-word and I'm having sex with her right now. Like that's the long and short of it. And like that was pretty much that was like in every lobby.
Literally, yes.
But it was like aggro energy where it was like just like angry, just like just like angsty like teenage And Dota is like full of man babies. And Peruvian people.
Oh yeah,
Peruvians.
Is that the country taking over Dota?
Dude, that's the South American country that's most prominent is Peruvians, and Russia has a huge presence, but I don't play on the servers that they're on usually.
Right.
Though I do get matched up with Russians sometimes because they'll put themselves on American servers and play with us.
Sure.
But the game there's so many babies on that game. It is astounding to me. I mean, these games take an average of, I would say, 38 to 50 minutes. Okay? Mm-hmm. And, like, a game will, like, something will not go their way in the first, like we'll be, like, 7 minutes into the game, and the other team will make a couple of good plays on us, and people are like, GG.
Isn't that awful?
Game over. That. And it's ridiculous because the number of times I've had a teammate call GG and then we turn around and win it in the end, I couldn't count on both my hands. It's
right,
like
there you go. It's like huff my shorts, dog.
Right.
Like, play the game and maybe we'll win. Shut up. Play the game.
But there's and like it's like freaking Lord of the Flies, because by the end of the game, at the end of the match, literally if you're losing. There's like an 80% chance, and that's probably being generous, that people are like, the blaming just sets in. They're just like,
yep.
Windrunner totally threw, and she totally lost mid lane. And then she's like, Windrunner's like, I didn't blow mid lane. Off lane wasn't, I was getting ganked in mid, and nobody came to help. And it was, everybody's blaming everybody by the end of the game. It's And people just quitting. I've never had people just be like, okay, try to win without me then. I'm done.
Just throw. Yeah.
And they don't even go and sit they don't even park their guy in the corner of the map. They literally will go and like just click around and drag their guy around so it looks like somebody's still playing, so they don't get automatically booted from the game. They take time to be a nuisance and
just
a menace,
obstinate. Yeah,
and it's like these are real people in real life, and I'm starting to turn into my uncle because there was a time, bro. There was a time when I got my uncle Tim, who I love. My uncle Tim, I've told you about him before.
Is this the guy that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
There was an incident. He's a good guy, and he
Yeah.
and he largely these days operates within the limits of the law. Not always, historically, but he's a fighter. He gets into fights. Somebody cuts him off, and he's like, "Excuse me, that was rude." And if they're like, "Oh, I don't care," then he's like, now I have to beat your ass.
I'm gonna make you care.
Yeah, most people are like, whatever, we're done, whatever. He's like, this isn't over until you've apologized or I've knocked you out and made you sorry for what you've done.
Yeah.
I got him, speaking of being hopelessly addicted, I got him hopelessly addicted on a Red Dead Redemption 2. No, the first one.
Yeah?
Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
For the 360. And we would play online all the time. But there was this generational disconnect where we would get into a match with people.
Yeah.
We would get in this match with people, and people would be like, "You're stupid. You're blowing it. You're doing it." And he's like, literally, many a time he was like, "Listen to me. I will fly anywhere in the country and meet you, and I will fight you." And people, of course, they're like 15-year-olds on the other side of the internet. They're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, man." And he's like serious. He's like, "I will throw down with you." And it's because he got so angry because it was we grew up in the internet age, and like people, there's like a disconnect where we're like, people on the internet are not real people.
Right. Yes.
There's a wall there that makes them digital people. We don't deal with them.
It's just a username. That's not a person I have to interact with and treat like a human.
Right. It's kind of like when somebody flips you off within the safety and confines of their car. And then you can pull up to the red light next to them, and they'll be like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
That has happened to me. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And because there's just a thing that changes when somebody's right in front of you. And I'm turning into that because I'm like, I played a match last night on Dota, and I was typing furiously afterwards. I was like, I didn't say anything really mean because I'm past that in my life. But I was so angry that I was like, I wish this guy was in front of me so I could just choke him for a minute. You know what I mean? Just make him pay.
He'll survive. But like, I really want to
see the look in his eyes as the life slips out of his frail body. You know what I mean?
Listen, dude, I've been there in terms of furiously typing. I think you and I have both been banned from Xbox voice communications more than once. And I remember specifically, I think it was Siege, playing on console on Siege, where I told a kid to quit team killing because he was being a jerk. He was doing something stupid. I was like, "Dude, you're not helping. This is ridiculous. Why would you do that?"
Right.
And then he starts calling me names and stuff, and I start getting messages about, yourself. And I was like, "Hey, buddy, you're you suck. You lost this for us, and I hope that you." Right. and unfortunately, before that, I had also talked some about like, I'm whatever I was, 28, 29. I have a child and a wife, and she's smoking hot, and you can suck my farts, dude. Okay, like I don't give a about your life.
Right.
And it was foolish and stupid. And this kid is a minor, and then of course I get banned for 7 days because I told a kid that I have a smoking hot wife, but I hope he dies. It's like you can't win when you get past a certain like rage point, and you think that the catharsis is worth it. And then you feel like a tool bag after you get done with your little Xbox Live voice comms punishment, and you're like, all right, I'm out of Xbox jail. Maybe I'll behave myself for a little while. But these kids these days, I tell you what,
I know, dude, they're such losers, though, for real.
I think the worst time I ever saw where someone was griefing Jake was Jake and I were playing Siege. We were playing Siege is probably like a year ago, I guess, and.
I know the story you're going to tell.
It was within the last year, I'm pretty sure, and we were playing our favorite map, Chalet, and we were playing with just these guys were just team killing and being tool bags, And
the three of them were clearly together, and the two of us were together.
Yeah, Jake and I were together, and these other three guys were together, and they're on our team. And Jake didn't even say anything to him. He just said on voice chat. He said, he didn't even say anything bad on voice chat. He said, "Hey guys, will you please quit team killing?" And so what they did is, while Jake was reinforcing a wall, the three of them backed him into a corner, and then stood there so he couldn't move.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they stood there the entire match until we all got killed.
And they teabagged and all that stuff.
And they were teabagging him. And then the next time we respawn, in the next round, they back Jake into a corner and they stand there so he can't move. And they just stand there.
Yeah.
And this literally repeated the entire time. I was like, Jake, let's just quit. And he's like, well, we can't quit because then we'll get the abandonment, penalty and da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm. And if I team kill one of them, then I get reverse team killing penalty on my end. And if I do it a second time, then I get removed from the match and I get penalized. So, the only way is to suffer through it and report them all and, waste 30 minutes of your life.
And that's what it was.
Miserable. They were throwing flashbangs, at us as we were trying to approach the objective. I remember we were on attack and we were trying to, as the game was, mercifully wrapping up. And I remember we were playing, we have had streaks in Siege, Greg, where we played extremely well. Where the rest of our teammates were absolutely, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And you and I would win a match, just the two of us, 2v5. Mm-hmm. And it's suck my farts, we win because of us. And we're 30, shut up. And it feels really good. But nothing feels worse than not being able to play the game that you tried to sit down and play because these kids can't get over themselves and they're not treating you like a human being, and
we were literally unable to play the game. Mm-hmm. They found a loophole in the game to where they could troll us without being punished.
Yep.
Dude.
Yep. And that will happen in every game, no matter what the anti-cheat sort of toxicity measures are in place. There will always be people that do like that.
It's weird though, because it can't just be me, because I have this blood in my veins that's it demands that respect be reciprocated. Yeah. And there's people out there who they possess this. You want to talk about some old head stuff? Now we're really getting into it. Yeah. There's people that have just zero sense of respect, and it's I would actually probably pay a monthly fee. I would pay for Ubisoft Premium, if that's even a thing. If those guys, if I reported them, and it wasn't that they got banned, it's that a sumo wrestler broke into their house. You know what I mean? I want them to pay, dude. I want them to know that they were disrespectful and that they deserve what's happening to them. So I don't know. I guess we probably all have a problem with this. I think Deg is definitely the calmer of the three of us. And thank God
not
for
by
that.
much. He hasn't told as many self-incriminating stories, but I'm sure they're there.
I also used to drink a lot more than I do now.
Also that. Wow. You talk about people sort of griefing and quitting early. This is the last thing I'll say about the topic. I swear we should move on to something nicer. People in a game that's sort of a long format match that's competitive and online. Siege. If you absolutely blow the other team out of the water, you're still going to take up about 20 minutes. If things go your way to a T, that's a 20-minute match. And then it could be as long as 50 minutes if it goes into overtime or whatever. And Dota, you said 50 minutes wouldn't be unusual. Sure. PUBG, same way. You could be in that one match. If it goes to the final round and you survive, you could be there for 45 minutes. Rocket League's 5 minutes. It's always going to be 5 minutes. You go to overtime, the next point wins. But it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your life. Mm-hmm. And there's people that they ask to forfeit, because that's the thing you can do, in the first 30 seconds.
Right.
I'm kid, it's 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay? Take that brain rot, TikTok, attention deficit disorder brain of yours and commit to something for 5 minutes, please, so that we can try. It's just 0-2. They've only scored twice. Yeah, they were quick goals or they were cheap goals or they were we goofed. But will you play this game with me, please? This is not a big deal.
Dude, this is an ableist podcast now. This is just turning into an ableist podcast because all of the people with their respective mental deficiencies filter into the genre of game that suits them best. Because Rocket League has ADD, psycho aggro kids probably, as does Warzone and Call of Duty. Those kids are in there and they're like everything needs to be going my way or else I need to quit and then I need to start it and then I need to get in again and I'm gonna jump in again. And Dota has like like penciled like loser baby kids who are like patient enough to be like, well, if the game isn't going to go my way, then I suppose I'll have to sabotage your, like they're different kids, but
Mega Mind over here.
Yes, but they're all like mentally broken people, and they're in every game, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Can we get a Special Olympics for these kids? Can the grown-ups play
that
a
needs
game?
To be a playlist. That needs to be a playlist in every competitive game.
Right.
It's like special PUBG, special Warzone, special Dota.
They put them in their own little games, and they can all run around and bump their heads together like Laurel and Hardy. And then the big kids can go and play the game like civilized people.
I think I said this one time. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or not. I wish there was like employer verification and age verification.
Yeah.
And then you could be put in a playlist. If it's a sufficiently popular game that has like, 100,000 concurrent players, surely there's a subset of those that are in our position, right? I wish, like, send me your W-2. Like,
right.
I want to know how many dependents you have. I want to know that you work for a dang living and that you only play this game X number of hours per week. And maybe I'll even cap it. You're not allowed to play more than 20 hours a week, which is generous. God, I can't imagine how life would improve if I knew that I was playing with like other dads and like 30-year-olds. So
here's a question. So much easier. Here's a question for you. Not to continue this any more than we have to, but this is
I know.
An offshoot.
I said we would stop, and here we are.
This is an offshoot of this, though. What games do you play where you think ranked works? Because what we're describing essentially is like, I wish that games had ranked modes, and they do have ranked modes. But it's like, do they work? Because it seems like ranked mode in people's minds is the mode you go into when you're putting your glory on the line. When in actuality, you're not getting paid to do anything, moron. Ranked mode is what you should be playing all the time because if you're playing bad, then you need to go down in rank. And if you're playing good, then you need to be going up in rank. That's how it works. That's how it's supposed to work. And I would say, after all my complaining, I would say Dota is one of the first games I played where I feel like the ranked mode really, it is working. I've been ranking up and the play has been getting better and more solid. And I would guess that fighting games probably are largely the same because the higher up that you go, well, I say that, but I see people quitting all the time in higher rank stuff. I don't know.
Here's how I feel about it. In Rainbow Six Siege, I know that when we played ranked, we had a better time and a worse time. Better because that skill-based sort of matchmaking would kind of go into effect, and you could count on, like, if you lost a few, you're probably going to be set up for some wins after that. But it just sucks to feel like you're on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. But it was also like, it was this double-edged sword of like people taking the game way too seriously, and that became obnoxious in its own way. Even if you were winning, you would find teammates that were like insufferable, and that was really horrible. As far as what I'm playing right now, I don't know anything about the back-end kind of infrastructure of PUBG, but I know that if things work the way that they're supposed to work, if you win for too long, you should be matched with people that are better than you by some sort of metric, and then you should lose a little bit, and then you should win a little bit. Like, that's how it's supposed to go. And I think we do have to remind ourselves of that occasionally. Yeah. If skill-based matchmaking works, you should be losing half of the time, and you should be winning half of the time. And then occasionally it goes like 60-40 because you like are on some sort of streak or you've improved in some way. Maybe you get to diamond instead of gold, or you go to so you go up. And now, once you sort of plateau there, you're going to be 50-50, right? And then maybe you go back down because you like went on vacation, you didn't play for a while. That kind of sort of roller coaster is expected, is from my perspective anyway. Mm-hmm. What I don't like is that what ranked because there's something other than ranked. Yeah. Ranked is supposed to be in the mind of the player base like the gold standard. Your glory's on the line. Your rank is on the line. Right. And by putting some little emote or charm or some bauble at the end of the season, like if you made it to plat, then you get the plat reward. It's ones and zeros. It doesn't actually matter, but people act like it's the Medal of friggin' Honor. And it's like it doesn't actually matter. And the fact that you're taking the game seriously to this extent is and by taking the game seriously, what I mean is letting the way that the game goes impact your ability to play with other people.
Yeah, it governs your emotions.
Yeah, if you play the game to an extent that you're going to cuss me out just because I reinforced a wall that you wouldn't reinforce, like, get over yourself. I'm on the team too. Right. I get to decide how I'm playing the game. Right. I have agency, and sorry, you're my teammate. You don't have to like everything that I do. I don't like everything that you're doing, but you don't see me saying anything about it, I think that was my hang up with Siege. And then I will say in Rocket League right now, I am solidly gold because I am winning half the time and losing half the time. Mm-hmm. What sucks is the distribution of those because of my average session length, right? If I've only got 30 minutes and I'm going to play like 3 or 4 matches and they're all losses, I'm like, that doesn't feel good, but I got to go to bed. I'm going to quit. Right. And then the next day I'll win 3 and lose 1. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm back to where I expected myself to be. So I think that takes our that'll mess with our perception of what's actually going on. Is like your session length and have you actually hit the plateau, or is the game still trying to place you? I sometimes I wish there was only one mode. Make it be one playlist. Yeah. Squad size, that would be nice to change. In PUBG, for example, you used to be able to play duos. I have no earthly idea why you can't choose a squad size anymore. You used to be able to pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and everybody would be limited to that squad size. But whatever, dude.
I guess that's why I appreciate Dota, though. It really does. It's like coming from like a basketball background, playing a lot of pickup basketball. The beauty of that game, and like all games like that, all sports. My dad always used to tell me this. He's like, a group of good basketball players, they don't have to like know each other. You can just get into a game and you can play because it's basketball. Mm-hmm. You just play basketball. And I enjoy that about Dota because I will get in a lot of matches that I play. There will be zero actual communication text-wise. Mm-hmm. People are just playing the game because it's a very, very well-established game. And there's when there's no griefing, it is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I'm into it.
And,
Jared, I'm so glad we had this cathartic discussion where we got to air our grievances about online video games. But on a much more positive note, tell me about the Steam Summer Sale and what you're looking forward to.
Well, it snuck up on me this year. I wasn't totally ready for it, but I do have a wish list for that exact reason. And there are some games I was just going to bring to you guys' attention because you probably don't have them on your wish list and you probably won't buy them, but maybe I can at least broaden your horizons, and maybe you guys can broaden my horizons with some of the things that I have never even heard of.
And the listeners, let the people know what we got going on. What are we seeing?
For the people. One game that I was looking at, I've had it on my wish list for a little while, and this is going to sound... First of all, I'm not an anime retard. Okay, guys? Listeners,
go on.
I need you to.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, there have been some animes in my past, and I've enjoyed them, and I would still enjoy them because they're objectively good. This game is called Megaton Musashi W: Wired, and I enjoy. First of all, I enjoy Gundam as an aesthetic and as a series. I've been a fan of that show for a long time. Toonami, what up? Mm-hmm. And this is it's not a Gundam game per se, but it is a mecha game with what looks like lots of customization and leveling and cool colors and kind of old-timey Capcom-esque like Gotcha Force eye candy stuff that I think that I really enjoy.
If it resembles Gotcha Force whatsoever, I know it's got your eyes on.
Oh man, I love that game so much.
Hit me with the name of this one more time. I'm looking it up on Steam.
It is Megaton Musashi W Wired.
Roger.
Quite the Japanese name on this one. But it looks Custom Robo. You guys ever played Custom Robo for the GameCube?
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Custom Robo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, we should do a full-on replay of that game one of these days, guys.
Only if we can talk about the Zoids game for Game Boy Advance.
Was that game good, dude?
Dude, I played the heck out of that game. I emulated it. After buying it 100% legally back in the day, I emulated it on my MacBook Pro when I was on the cruise ship gig that summer. And it was such a great time killer, dude, where I would like full screen those pixels just as big as my eyeballs. You know? And it was a super fun game. It was a mixture of like sort of Pokemon and like other RPG-esque kind of games where you got to do this Zoids thing and upgrade your guys over time. Anyway, yes, good game.
I need to check that out. I'm gonna get
so
that on
Megaton Musashi. This is like Toonami interactive, like for sure.
Yeah. It looks really intriguing. It's something that I would definitely say is not a like mainstream game. I don't think anybody's talked about this. I didn't see any review outlets talking about it. But aside from that, I've had Beam NG Drive on my wishlist for a while. I don't think my computer can run it, but I want to get that eventually. Which is basically like a damage sim game, and it's great for people who have autism. From what I can tell, because there's like YouTube streams that are like 24-hour streams of just like Beam NG like scenarios, like them like driving trains into like big like sinkholes.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's about, but and then finally there's a game called No Plan B, which I actually think is like up your guys' alley, or at least Jake's, because it's kind of like a Steam Deck game, but it's like a game where you map out every single move for a tactical team. You map out every single move, and then you hit play, and they do what you told them to do.
I'm looking at it. It looks kind of rad.
Yeah, you like check the right corners and give them the right weapons, and it's like it's one of those games where
it's got that battle bit low poly thing going on. It's
right. But it's also got the sort of like that thing in your brain that's like, I could do this perfectly. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to get it right this time.
It's a puzzle. I'm going to get out there with like no hits, and try to do it just right.
And it looks good. It is low poly, but at the same time, if you get the colors right, if you get the shapes right, you can make our brains,
it kind of fill in the gaps with your brain. It looks like it has. I should revise what I said. It's not as low poly as BattleBit. BattleBit is like Minecraft with guns, but this is a slightly higher polygon count than that. And I think the lighting of, just based on the screenshots and stuff, like some of the lighting effects and bloom and like other stuff is on point. Looks kind of rad.
Yeah. So
and there's a demo you can download too. That's cool.
And it's pretty cheap if you do decide to buy. It's on sale. Looks to be $12 right now.
I'm gonna install the demo right now. At least I'll give it a shot at some point in all my free time.
And Musashi is $25, by the way, for those listening. For all of our listeners that are definitely gonna buy that game.
There's a couple of games that I've been waiting for them to go down in price, and some have and some haven't. One of the notifications, of course, is Elden Ring, and we've already talked about that. That is
never heard of it.
Literally on my computer now. There's a game called Pacific Drive that I think I talked about before. I missed the window for the demo, but it's on sale now for $18. I might have to get that. I gotta just remember the Steam Summer Sale and get it before it's too late, because I wouldn't pay $30 for it, but for $17.99 is like, I could do that probably. And there's another email that I got that I'm not sure where I even heard of this one. It was maybe an article on Polygon or something. It's called The Invincible. It's like a story exploration puzzle sci-fi thing. The description is this: rethink humans' dominion in The Invincible, a story-driven adventure set in a hard sci-fi world by Stanislaw Lem. Discover planet Regis 3 as scientist Yasna. Use atom punk tools looking for a missing crew and face unforeseen threats. Make choices in a philosophical story driven by science. And so
Regis 3?
That's the name of the planet that they made. Yeah.
Dang.
It seems really interesting. It's not a low poly thing. It's like vaguely cartoonish, but basically realistic graphics. The atom punk thing is interesting. It's very USSR, like sort of like the space race kind of era of technology is what it looks like. And it's not like there's combat, but there's like items and puzzles and stuff you do. The trailers and screenshots are very interesting. I'm not sure if it'll be something. The people that like it really like it, you know. I've occasionally dipped into games like this and really enjoyed them. There's one I played on Xbox. I think it was on Game Pass or something. I'll never remember the name of it. But anyway, I'm a sucker for, you know, a well-crafted hard sci-fi or medium hard sci-fi kind of thing. So
I'm medium hard for sci-fi as well.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you like getting there? Yeah.
No, I do like sci-fi. You are a space lover.
It's true.
It's your aesthetic. There's just something about it that appeals to you, and big respect for that.
How about you, Dag? Any Steam sale stuff jumping out at you? You get any emails from old Gaben over there?
Well, I want to get Dragon's Dogma 2, but it's just not discounted enough. It's 20% off, but the base game is $70.
Wow.
So 20% off puts it to $56. It's like...
Yeah, that's still like... It's got to be sub 40. A big game like that, you know, I'm thinking, come on, where are we at? You know what else I just thought of? Greg, I think you've talked about this. Did you ever play Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game that was
I did not. My brother played it, and he said it was a lot of fun.
I heard it was great. I'm not a Harry Potter guy whatsoever, but I've heard the game is so good, and I kind of think it could be a gateway drug for my darling wife. It's on sale 60% off right now, $24.
Have you guys ever played that game Hog Crank Legacy?
In a manner of speaking.
Oh,
wait. I'm out here cranking my MF and hog. Yeah, man. It's good. It's good out there. It's a good time to be a gamer in the summer. Spend that time inside. I know we say touch grass, but ladies and gentlemen, if there was ever a time to not touch grass, it'd be the Steam Summer Sale. I'll tell you what.
Yo, when are we gonna, on God, no cap, play Power World? They just dropped a huge update. That'd be so funny if we started playing Power World together.
Is it like good though? I just don't think I can do it.
Dude, I played it on Xbox when it just dropped, and again,
I remember you said
it's my style of game, admittedly.
Yeah,
but it's got like a Pokemon loop, and but they just released a big update for it, which is that's what we talked about it, I think, really early on in our podcast, and I was saying it's like if they can flesh this thing out, I think it'd be a great game. I don't know if you guys would actually like it. I just thought it'd be funny. Imagining us playing it together is just really funny to me. But
I think I could picture us doing a lot of things and it'd be hilarious, and playing Power World is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have to be like $2. I just don't know if I can, because I know that it would be funny, but I don't think I would return to it necessarily.
Right.
You know what I unironically really want to play with a group of people? And I was talking to Tyler about this because he shot me a link of some game that was like a highly realistic tactical shooter game. You remember when we played Ready or Not, Jared?
Yeah.
That game rocks, and it has a Tarkov-esque way of handling and moving around the world. Like you can't sprint a million miles an hour. It's not a movement shooter. It's slow. It's deliberate. You get all these realistic, like, law enforcement, military style gadgets. And you and your buddies are effectively a SWAT team, and there's all these scenarios that play out, and the scenarios are pretty realistic, and the voice acting is really good, and you have to collect evidence, and you have to handcuff people, and there are certain people you should shoot and certain people you should not shoot, and the atmosphere is really, really, really cohesive. The problem is, no shade, Jared, it's really hard to play that game and, like, send jokes out of the room for a second and get stuck into, like, I'm a SWAT team elite operator.
Yeah.
Because the second that you enter a crack house
right.
and there's some busted crack that's like wielding a machete,
right.
it's kind of hard not to meme on it, you know?
Right.
And you're like, hey man, check out this.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game, and it's on sale for, let's see, it's in 1.0, like, fully fleshed out video game now, and it's 33% off. I'm sitting there at $33.49. I really do want to get into that at some point, and you can play it offline all day with your pals. Well, online in the sense that you're playing with people. It's not PvP. You can play it single player with AI teammates, and it's very kind of OG Rainbow Six. Like, you order them to flash and clear, and then you go to the other door and you, like, breach and clear. Pretty radical.
Yeah.
Pretty radical.
Ready or not, here I come. I am gay. Fuji's.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for bearing with us as we rant and rave in our old head ways. I hope that you've had a great week. I hope that you're staying cool. And like I said, I hope you enjoy some of the Steam Summer Sale goodies and spend a little time in the AC. I would be remiss, of course, if I didn't mention our Instagram, our YouTube, our things. Please check it out. Share with your pals. I haven't posted any new video content. It's been a busy week for me, but I'm sure we'll get around to it. And until next week, when we hear from you again, please don't forget, get out there, even for just a little bit, and touch some